Professor, Ambassador Koech, the Chair of the Council, all Council members, I'm really very delighted to have been asked in a very special way to come and just say a few words as you continue to grow this extremely important institution in my view. I had, in the morning, I was involved in another event about investment culture with the Nation group. And so I had asked to be a bit late because I would have loved to be here from the beginning so that I learn more about your 10-year celebration and what the Institute has been doing for our country. Let me just say, as I begin, how I became a Minister for Environment and Natural Resources. Somehow, and we have been told about Honorable Kamodo, you know, that was a tough guy. He could do anything. But during Kibaki's administration, it was a ministry that people didn't really want to work in. Because, as ministers, because of the complexity of the issues that one dealt with. You know, you had to read, you had to be given all those complicated papers, you were supposed to go abroad in those you know, meetings, and you didn't want to be dumb when others are, you know, articulating all those issues and you know nothing and you're quiet. So many people wanted to avoid. So it was really after, you know, maybe people had been asked and then, you know, they said, okay, maybe a professor, even if it's a professor in law, can help us in this instance. And I think this speaks to the complexity of what you're engaged in, because it's not just some simple stuff. It is scientific, it requires a lot of knowledge, and it is not something that anybody just wakes up and does. And I think that's how sometimes we get it wrong, when very many people think they can be advisors, they can be, they can be consultants, they can get involved in this environment matters, and it will be okay. So really thank you for asking me to, you know, come and share a little, and actually in the context in which there is also the Environment Professionals Institute of Kenya Bill of 2024. And I think that bill is extremely important in terms of regularizing the work that you do. And I will say a few things about it, but we are looking forward to its completion so that the work that you do is properly legalized, so that it is being done under a proper legal framework. And indeed, you will be in the shoes of the lawyers. They have their, you know, their own law for their profession, the architects, the engineers, the teachers, the doctors. There are many professionals who have a law underpinning what they do. And I think when that happens, the law, parliament, the state are recognizing the importance of a particular profession or disciplines. And that also signals to the country at large that these people are doing important work, and therefore you need to recognize that. And even when people give you a fee note, it is for good reason, so that you don't simply think that they are doing work which is not important. I have been a bit fortunate, as Professor said, to serve in the Ministry of Environment, 2005 up to 2007. And during that time, I was president of the UN Framework Convention for Climate Change, 2006, that is COP 12. And I also participated in some other UN level conventions like President of Deserts and Desertification Convention and the Basel Convention. And so in a way, when I became governor of Makueni, I think it was important to realize, for me, I realized that what you learned in the Ministry of Environment, what you learned at the international plane, could actually be landed at the local level so that environmental issues, climate change issues begin to be addressed where they matter most, at the grassroots level. And as a consequence, during that period between 2013 to 2022, we were, I think, one of the first counties to develop a legal framework for climate justice and matters environment. And we even ring-fenced a budget so that that budget was dedicated to environment, climate justice matters. We had committees at the ward level. We had 30 wards. We have 30 wards, which were themselves dealing with these issues. And we worked with World Bank during those days. And actually, FLOCA, the Financing Locally Led Climate Change Action, we were part of piloting for that at the county. And that told me, therefore, from my early experience, that even things can be done at the local level which become replicable at a national level, and we do a good job, a reasonably good job, in terms of responding to climate change, climate change issues. And of course, I also have done a little work with Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance, PACJA, which is very influential on the continent. And through now this journey, I therefore realized that environmental and climate justice issues in today's world are so pivotal, they are so critical, and if any country, a county, subnational government, if they don't focus on them, it is not easy to have sustainable development. It is not easy to be at the same par as many countries in the world where environment issues are being mainstreamed. Even when we talk about the SDGs, they are being mainstreamed. And therefore, I think that what you're doing is very commendable, because you are assisting the country, Kenya, to be able to, in a very systematic way, address these issues and therefore help our country to move forward in this terrain. And when I was asked to come and make a few remarks, I said to myself, that's an important institution, and we need to support it. I think in your 10 years, I'm sure, you have worked, with government, and I hope recently with county governments, national government, county governments, because you can help them drive policy. You can help them in research. You can help them, you can also help yourselves in terms of regulating your own conduct, so that we don't have rogue people pretending to practice in a field where they have no skills. And the various disciplines which are part of this institute, because it's not just one discipline, they synergize each other in terms of now doing the work that is required, and looking at what are your specialties, whether it's environment impact assessment, environmental audit, environmental trainings, climate information systems, public participation, waste management, capacity building. One can see that you are approaching this area in a very holistic way. And indeed, when I looked at the bill, I can see the spirit of what you have been doing percolating in the bill, and seeking now to ensure that it is firm in terms of now how you proceed. I think unity among environmental professionals is very critical, so that, so to speak, you speak with one voice. You support, one another in your fields. You impact on policy. Your field is actually, fortunately, viewed as technical, although at the international level, it's also very political. There are issues that, like climate, justice, finance. There are issues that the more, quote, advanced countries will not assist the less advanced countries or developed countries. So there is that political aspect. But in our context, this is a field which is not seen as political. Therefore, governments don't feel that they're being threatened necessarily by your input. Meaning, therefore, you have good elbow room to influence in a tremendous way. And I think one must exploit that opportunity, because doors can get opened, and those who are opening them do not feel that you threaten whatever it is that is happening in the public space. And indeed, in the complex environment, climate justice space, climate action, sometimes the expertise which is within government may not be adequate for those, difficult negotiations. And so, when there is an institute like this, which can be used to help government in negotiations, whether it is in the UN system, whatever system, then, this is very positive. And you even as the bill says, one of the things that you do is to make sure that you help, whether it's NEMA, you help government in these very complex areas. As I said earlier, when one went into the Ministry of Environment, it was like going to a school. And if you were, you didn't think you were big as a minister, but you allowed yourself to be taught by the professionals within the ministry, that helped you, and maybe things worked as such. As Professor told us that he would deliver papers to JJ, and he would do a good job in Parliament. He was actually a very formidable adversary when we were on the other side asking for the Constitution in NCC and stuff like that. I think he was a good man. Sometimes even when you're on opposite sides with people, you have to admit that they're good. Sometimes we lack that in the country. Now, when we look at the Environment Professionals Institute Kenya Bill 2024, which is a private member's bill by MP George Gachagua, I believe. I have looked at it, and I have in my mind thought that is a very well drafted proposal, legislative proposal, in terms of its ambition to establish the institute, to promote professionalism within the environment, you know, a profession, providing mechanism for registration, licensing, regulation, professional development of environment professionals, and even the fields in which it wants to incorporate, like environment, natural resources, earth sciences, research, as may be prescribed by the council, so that they are registered. I think it's important to begin to indicate that specific professionals will be part of this, so that one eliminates, if I can say, pretenders to the fields. Because when you get advice from people who actually are not qualified, then that advice can harm instead of assisting. So I don't think you are creating a trade union or, you know, a closed shop. I think it's a question of this proposed law trying to say that these are the people that are known to work, practice in this field. So those will be admitted. And of course, the council has got, the proposed council under the law has also some leeway to be able to determine that there is somebody who is in this field, like a lawyer maybe, who has done, like Professor Mbote, who has done a lot of work in the environment, you know, people of that kind. And of course, as a lawyer, because we have practicing certificates, so that you can't appear before the court if you have no practicing certificate. So even this law says that there will be a practicing certificate, so that there is proper identification. And I thought that that was a good thing. And part of this law also now says, apart from identifying who are going to be members, you know, lead members, you know, fellow honorary and associate corporate members, I think the proposed section 28 is a good law, because it says that those who are registered have exclusive right to practice. So that, again, there is order in this particular field. I think this is positive. And also the injunction that when you are registered, you'll be required to partake of continuing education, professional development, because this area, as you know more than I do, grows very fast, so that people are kept abreast in terms of what are developments. The lawyers go to court on environmental matters and so on. I'm sure you'll relate with them, the Law Society of Kenya, because they do these cases of environment and so on, so that somehow they can even be a corporate member, I don't know, or what is the current situation, but there is a nexus of your work and some of the work that they do. Also, relationship with APSEA, that body of professional groups, I think you may be members already, because actually professionals in this country are sometimes timid. They like to be very much in their own professions and to do stuff there, but they don't bring their voice to participate in saying that this is where we think the country should go. And I think one can do that, focusing on their profession, of course, but also saying that we want a general environment that is going to secure all of us. And also private sector does the same thing. Sometimes they are timid. They think that if I raise my voice, it might be construed to be politics, and I might lose contracts and so on. But I think we need to do a harambe, you know, all sectors, so that we make our country better. And please, and I think this is something that you are doing. I was talking to my friend from Oma Bay. who is in that government, works in that government, it is important to really help counties, because there the expertise is significantly lacking. And so when they are doing policy, when they are doing laws to do with the environment, when they are doing practice, when they are doing development projects without EIA, so that you help them to do things in the proper way. And there are 47 of those county governments. And they have actually ministries or ECMs of environment and climate justice. So, and they even have meetings because every ministry in the counties, they have a group together nationally, the 47 of them. So that's another area to penetrate, so that you make friendship, and I think that's something that already you are doing, so that you assist them. Therefore, I really look forward to this law particularly coming to fruition, so that you become part of the family in our country of professional bodies that are recognized by the law, and therefore there is that framework for you to be able to help our country, as of course people practice their profession and make a livelihood. And just as Professor said, you build an institution, you move on when your time arrives for you to move on, and you leave something precious to those who come after you. And we all know our youth, are very much, they really want to take over everything. So, well, even before they take over, at least let's prepare an institution so that when they do eventually become leaders within it, then it's a strong institution and it continues to help our country work at the international level, at the regional level, at all levels. And so chair and council and all members, all the best as you move forward in this very important institution and work. God bless.
Thank you, members, for paying attention, and thank you, Professor, for sharing with us your wisdom from the national, from working with the county government, as well as just the advisory on how, as members, we are able to grow our institute. I think it will just be in order, if I may open just the floor for probably 1 or 2 comments to what Prof has been able to share with us, so that members you are able to interact with our guest speaker. Do we have anyone who would like to probably give a concur with what Professor said, or probably even just ask him a question? Yes.
Prof, thank you very much for talking to us on these issues of environment. And we are pleased to hear that there is so much we need to do. Why we are becoming an important force to recognize environment and environmental justice are concerned. I concur completely with what you have said, that our county, they need a lot of support, because what we are doing in our counties, thank you, what we are doing in our counties, much of what is happening there is a challenge to environment. Much of what is happening is we lack professionals in this area, and therefore members, I am sure you've heard this, that those are areas we need to focus on. We need to go to our counties and see what is happening and see where we can support. That is very important. I totally concur with you, Prof. Thank you. What you've been doing in Makueni, we've seen a lot of good things happening there. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And there is something you're saying that we need to help governments. Like you give an example of NEMA. And not only NEMA, there are so many areas where we can get in and help them with ideas and advice. Now that you see the environment is full of issues, not health issues, not biodiversity, not water, agriculture, all those things. And this group is composed of all those experts. So if you would be creating time and they allow us also to advise them, I think it's the right thing. Thank you, Professor.